Hello, good evening and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. A senior lecturer at the University of Professional Studies Accra, Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadom, is urging government to capitalize on the current high gold price, which has hit a historic $5,000 an ounce, to strengthen the Ghanaian cedi and boost the economy. According to him, Ghana has the unique opportunity to leverage this strategic resource to bolster its gold reserves and economic stability. He spoke to Joy Business.
The continuous upward movement in gold prices, I think that it will help us to be able to improve on our reserve and also have substantive reserve to support the Ghana cedi. We should also be mindful that there has been some sort of an inverse relationship. If we look at the trajectory or the relationship between gold prices and the dollar, anytime gold is doing well in the international market, it means that the local economy in US, they are generally not doing well in the US, and the US dollar will be at the downside. You know, when things turn and the US dollar tends to do better as compared to gold, that means that people are saving more, or countries are saving more in the dollar. It also have its negative effect. You know, so we just have to be able to invest in strategic positions at the time that gold prices are good. We should also be mindful that if the gold price goes up relative to our other commodities like cocoa that we have depended on for some time, it makes the city improve against the dollar.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mark Bedua-Boaji, is urging the Bank of Ghana to ease the monetary policy rate gradually to support businesses. Reacting to the opening of the Monetary Policy Committee meeting, he noted that key economic indicators point to further easing of the rate, a move he says is critical to improving access to credit and boosting business activity.
We anticipate that there's going to be a reduction in the rate. We may not see those huge reduction of over 350 basis points, but the numbers looks good. I think it's time for us to consistently reduce the policy rate. In situations where there's a significant reduction, those are extreme cases. But looking at the fact that, I mean, the economy, everything, the dynamics are looking good, I don't see any significant risk ahead of us over the next 3 months that should prevent the central bank or the governor from reducing the policy rate. We have been suffering from huge policy rates and huge lending rates for quite a long time. And now that the numbers are looking good, there is a need for businesses to have some relief. I think that they should give us that benefit. Because at a point in time, if all these benefits we are enjoying, if all the good numbers, if inflation begins to go up, if fuel prices begins to go up, if good prices begin to dip, the only thing that will hold us as a country to a lower inflation rate is the cost of production. So now that we have the opportunity, the room to reduce the policy rate, which will go a long way to reduce the lending rate and reduce the cost of production, I think they should consider that. And I am very hopeful and expecting that on Wednesday, we are going to see a reduction in the policy rate.
Meanwhile, manager of macroeconomic research at GCB Bank PLC, Courage Boti, is urging the Bank of Ghana to tread cautiously in easing the policy rate, despite strong indications of another cut following a sustained slowdown in inflation. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
So the caution he's exercising is actually expected, is welcome. Yes, there will be monetary losing, but at what scale? We see today the real monetary policy rate is about 12.6%. In the crisis period where we needed to tighten to rein in inflation, it was just around those levels or even slightly lower. And so on that score, given inflation is down and the anchors suggest that we could have inflation within the target band for at least 2026 and onwards, barring any external shocks and all that, I think there is room for the policy rate to come down significantly, and it has to do so. One, the Bank of Ghana governor himself has set himself a target of a 10% lending rate. If we have to achieve that, then reference rate need to be just around the 7-8% levels for you to achieve that kind of lending rate. And if there is room for inflation to be that stable and for you to bring it that way, all the better, but you cannot do it so drastically. I feel this year the approach would be, one, again, cautious, trying to properly anchor inflation expectations and then easing rates in a very gradual, conservative way to try to motivate lending to the real sector at cheaper rate. And that is where the growth is going to come from. So the caution here, as I saying, or the cautious tone for me it's in place. You do not need to go rooftop singing about what your next policy actions are. It has to be gradual.
A while longer, the central bank, because they have reiterated their strong commitment to ensuring that the country fully harnesses the benefits of open banking as part of efforts to deepen financial inclusion and drive innovation within the financial sector. Speaking at an event on virtual assets and open banking, Second Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Matilda Santisiudu, said open market or banking presents a major opportunity to transform Ghana's financial ecosystem by promoting competition and enabling the environment of innovative financial products tailored to meet the needs of customers and businesses.
Open banking will not succeed only as a regulatory project, because it's not just about regulation. It must be a movement, an ecosystem movement. So let me close with a call. A few words. To the banks, open banking is not a threat. I believe it's a growth opportunity. To the fintechs and developers, build solutions that are scalable, secure, and customer-centric. To ecosystem partners, help shape standards that actually work for Ghana. At the Bank of Ghana, we are fully committed to the process and to working with all the stakeholders to unlock the full potential of open banking. And I believe that together we can build a financial system that is more connected, more inclusive, more innovative.
Away from the Bank of Ghana, the Digital Chamber of Ghana is calling for the speedy rollout of the SIM re-registration to aid the fight against mobile money fraud. In an interview last year, the sector minister, Sam George, disclosed that government will begin a new nationwide SIM re-registration exercise by the first quarter of 2026. However, speaking to Joy Business, the chief executive of the chamber, Sylvia Owusu Ankoma, was optimistic that proper synchronization of systems and the deployment of the right security features in the yet to be rolled out exercise will be crucial and will improve the country's digital identification infrastructure.
I mentioned that it will not be the first time Ghana is doing subscriber registration, right? And mobile network operators in this country have picked the learnings for this is the third time we're going through the cycle, or the fourth if we go through with this. And we need to be mindful of the learnings we've picked up over the years, right? There is absolutely no merit in undertaking an exercise if the database that we have currently is one that, as mandated from the past year, was mapped to the national ID system. So we do have that database as existing. What we are requiring now is improvements to ensure that, you know, as we go, biometric features, etc., are all improved and the process becomes more friendly when it comes to verifying data, not as a one-off, but as a, you know, everyday usage.
Foolproof, robust system.
Exactly. And it does, to your question, it will improve the level of ensuring that we know people who use numbers, you know,
that are behind the fraud.
For fraudulent activities. They are traceable from a national security point of view. But I also want to add on that, as a chamber, over the years, because fraud is such a big issue for us, we have self-regulated by creating what we call the fraud control dashboard.
Okay.
And with the fraud control dashboard, which is centrally cited at the chamber, it allows mobile network operators to blacklist any subscriber that is identified on their network as having committed, transacted fraudulently.
In some other business news, government has appealed to customs officers to support reform initiatives and deployment of publican artificial intelligence tools at the various ports. The call was made by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Thomas Nyaku Ampem, in a speech to celebrate this year's World Customs Day under the theme, Promoting Society Through Vigilance and Commitment. And that's how Pat Company enjoyed the story.
The World Customs Day celebration is an annual event by the World Customs Organization to recognize the hard work of customs officers across the globe. This year's celebration, under the theme Customs, Protecting Society Through Vigilance and Commitment, brought together stakeholders and sister security agencies to highlight the importance of border protection. Giving the keynote address, Deputy Minister of Finance Thomas Ampem Nyaku charged customs officers to support the deployment of publican artificial intelligence tool, which aims to improve efficiency and boost revenue.
I believe that all of you are aware of the publican AI tool that we are ready to deploy from next month to help you in your decision-making process. We want to encourage you to support this initiative and make sure it works. We are very determined to ensure that nobody stands in the way of the deployment of this important tool that will help us get the right revenue for the state. Our goal is to build a customs administration that is efficient, professional, and responsive to the needs of both the state and trading community, while ensuring a secure and safe environment for all stakeholders.
Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, reminded the officers of their prime mandate, which is revenue mobilization for the state.
Revenue is prime, and as we say in GRA, revenue is a lifeblood of the nation. Without the revenue, our nation will not develop. And therefore what we do, and I keep on telling each and every one of us, that every day what we do is actually national development, not revenue mobilization. The national development agenda is the key foundation that drives us to do the things that we do that brings the revenue.
Commissioner of Customs, Brigadier General Glover Ashong Annan, emphasized the need for collaboration among sister agencies to improve security.
The core values of the authority evidently affirm teamwork as a fundamental pillar in our service. Therefore, we should deepen collaboration with our stakeholders to ensure border security and public safety. Such collective efforts strengthen our capacity to effectively prioritize the states and deliver on our mandate. The Customs Division adaptation to new security systems clearly demonstrates their competence in service. This positions the Customs Division as a forward-looking institution that can properly safeguard national interests in an evolving world.
Some officers were presented with WCO certificates of merit.